Yo, what's going on, guys? And today I want to talk about my biggest sleepers in this year's NBA draft. I don't know if they use sleepers a lot in the NBA, steals, whatever you want to call it, underappreciated prospects. In the NFL, they call them sleeper picks. So I'm just going to call it a sleeper pick. So this is my list, if you guys want to see it. This is who I have currently as all the players that I think aren't getting enough love by the media. Some might be getting more as of recently, but still not enough. And even I have just read and learned more about them. Obviously, some have been players I've talked about a lot if you've been following my channel. So before we start the video, I want to hear your opinions down below. Anybody that I haven't mentioned or the media isn't mentioning that you believe is a prospect, a player that could have a legitimate impact in the league that isn't being talked about. I want to hear those lovely thoughts down below. So let's get into this video, guys, and let's talk about these sleepers. So obviously, Neemias Queta. And one of the reasons why I love this guy is because it's literally, I made a video 2 years ago after his freshman year when he initially entered the draft and then he withdrew. And he had a regression in his sophomore year, but he bounced back this year, led the NCAA with 97 blocks, and he put up 15 points, 10.1 rebounds, and 3.3 blocks, 97 blocks total, leading the NCAA. 7'4" wingspan, almost 7 feet tall. Okay, the only other players to average better or similar stats are Joel Embiid, Carly Anthony Towns, and Robert Williams. So that's a really good season, ceiling and floor for if those stats are translate to what he could be putting out on the floor. And I expect him. Robert Williams is probably more what he's going to be, is a guy who comes in, I think day one, I think he's going to be a guy who can really sneak into the first round and be taken for his shot, like immediate weak side and strong side shot blocking ability and rim running and being a lob threat and just how strong of a motor. JT Thor, the guy from Alaska, 6'10". Yeah, he shot 30% from three, but he has the ability in his frame to shoot over anybody. No one really can block his shot from how high his shot is, and like it's just he has the ability to shoot off dribbles, really good off ball, and he seems like a guy who's the perfect stretch four and can be a small ball big. I really like him. I've talked a lot about him, and he looks like a really good shot blocker. So he really is. If you guys remember Stick Smith from last year's draft, it's Jalen Smith from UMD, Maryland. JT Thor is a player in similar vein as Stick Smith, Jalen Smith. So JT Thor, I think, can be a similar player to Jalen Smith. Now, Santi Aldama, guys, I want to hear your opinion. Would you guys want me to do a video on Santi Aldama? He's from Spain. He played the past 2 years at Loyola, Maryland, and he's not going back to college. He's decided to start professionally either in NBA or somewhere else, but this is a guy I really like. Should I make a video on him talking about how I believe he could be the biggest deal? Like, he could be the next Euro player drafted in the second round, like Jokic, that could just go off. This is something I actually wrote, so I want to read it word by word. A nice versatile big man who has potential stretch four option here, and an NBA team could actually stash him overseas if he decides to sign with a Euro team in his home country of Spain, bringing him over later. Santi's a very skilled kid, but he lacks strength. This kid absolutely is gold for today's game. 6'11", long, fluid, coordinating, can put the ball on the floor and can shoot from everywhere with efficiency, and can pass well enough and can rebound and can protect the rim. He came over from Spain to play for Loyola University in Baltimore County, Maryland. He played in the Patriot League, which is weak competition, is why we haven't heard his name on more boards. He played in that league because academics were important to him. And Aldama is not a random European player. He might be the best European player of his age group, and it proved it by winning the U18 championship and MVP. Aldama could have played for any college in the U.S., but he chose his path, and he's done more than well enough to show his unique skills. By the way, it's much easier to play with good teammates than bad ones he played with. Aldama finished his sophomore seasons with averages of 21.2 points, 10.1 rebounds, 2.3 assists, and 1.7 blocks per game. Since 1992-93, only 6 players have had seasons with those types of averages: Tim Duncan, David West, Andrew Bogut, Jason Thomas, Lamine Diane, and Santi Aldama. He also average 1.9 threes made per game, 1 steal per game, and 51% from the field. Whoever gets this kid out of the lottery will get the absolute steal of the draft, as he's clearly a top 10 player. And also, Tim Duncan, David West, Andrew Bogut, Jason Thomas were all first round picks. And David West was, I don't know if Bogut was ever an all star, but David West and Tim Duncan were all stars. Bones, Highland, Deshaun Hyland, guys, this guy's a bucket getter. He's 6'3", and I think he has like a 6'9" wingspan. Okay, he might be basically a taller version of Rajon Rondo with a jump shot. I'm not saying that play style, but like frame style. And he's a great 3-point shooter, probably one of the better 3-point shooters in this draft. And he's going to be a guy who's going to be a high-level backup point guard. Kessler Edwards, 3-year starter at Pepperdine. He's a 3-level scorer. He can operate the pick and roll. He's got great wingspan, great height. He's like 6'9". Okay, he can defend 2s, 3s, and 4s. And really one of the better shooters in this year's draft. And he's got the ability in length and size to be a plus defender. Aaron Henry is 6'6" with a 6'10" wingspan, and he has unteachable athleticism. And yes, he's regressed as a shooter at Michigan State, but has improved as a playmaker. And defensively, there should be barely any questions about him. He's a perfect fit for smaller NBA lineups and can switch on ball against smaller, quicker guards and match up against wings because of his long frame. And he isn't overwhelmingly strong at 210 pounds, but he can bump up and go against guys. And he showed against facing up against Ayo Dosunmu, he can shut down people. Julian Champagne, he's a swingman. Also, when I write swingman, it means they can play the guard or forward position, like shooting guard or small forward. Julian Champagne from St. John's could be a lottery pick if it wasn't for that he isn't the most athletic guy and he lacks explosiveness and he has defensive lapses. But look, he averaged almost 20 points, 7.5 rebounds on 43.3% from the field and 38% free shooting. And his free throw rate was 88.7. Like, this guy could be a shooter, and if he tries on defense, he could be a decent 3-and-D guy. Jason Preston, I think a lot of people talk, he had like a good run in March Madness. So, you know, I'm 6'4" with like a 6'6" or 6'7" wingspan. He spent 2 years being the lead scorer for Ohio, and he plays up. He was a guy who could really be a high-level backup option in the NBA after spending some time in the G League. Rayquan Gray, he's perfect for that small ball center like the Morris twins and Blake Griffin, 6'8", 260, ridiculous. He has good ball handling skills, can play perimeter defense and play post D, and he's willing to shoot the 3 ball. Isn't great, but he can do it. Jose Alvarado is a guy from Georgia Tech. Tell me if I said that right. You know, this year he had a great year, almost 60% on 2s, almost 40% on 3s, and 83.8% from the line, 4.1 assists per game, and 4.5% steal rate. Okay, he won the conference tournament with Georgia Tech, and he won Defensive Player of the Year. He's really going to be a stud. I don't know too much about him. If you know more about him, go down. I just found out about him. I think he could be a really good backup point guard. Delano Banton from Nebraska, another swingman. Tell me if I said that correct. He's a point forward. He was a top 100 recruit, but landed at Western Kentucky as a freshman and sat out the following season while he transferred to Nebraska, posting boring numbers of 9.6 points, 5.9 rebounds, and 3.9 assists. That went 7-2. He snuck into this year's draft, declaring just before the early entry deadline with not much word. At the surface level, his shooting splits don't pop up at 49.6% on 2s, 24.1% on 79 three-point attempts, and 66% from the foul line. Though his assist rate of 27.5% and shooting 60.3% from the rim is just what makes it interesting that he could be a good guy. And this is the most interesting is another guy we could make a video about is EJ ONeal. Tell me if I said that right. Shawnee State, which is an NAIAA school, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is like, I don't even know if that's D1. Or that might be like sub D1. We're Googling this real quick. Is this even D1? It's Division, it's Division 1, but like there's also Division 2. So there's Division 1 and Division 2 NIAAA, and I do not know if Shawnee State is a part of Division 1 or Division 2, but it's like College of Charleston. Like Grant Riller went to an NAIAA, and he was a second round pick. So yeah, Shawnee State is Division One NAIAA. 529 career blocks for this guy, and he has a wingspan of 7'8", 6'10", and 529 blocks in 4 seasons more than like Shaq, Hakeem, David Robinson. Every big name person who played college basketball, nobody has more than this guy. 4.5 blocks in 33 games. Shot 40% on 130 attempts from 3. 17 points, 8 rebounds. Yeah. This guy going to be a steal for whoever gets him. Like I said, stretch 4, potential stretch 4 as you can head. I'm going to erase this because I don't think he should play stretch 4. But he could. He could. So let me think, what do you guys think of the list? That's it for me today, guys. Puppies out.